My boss wanted me to hurt people to make sales, and I refused, so I got fired. So, long story short, I used to sell shoes at a store where employees are required to fit each person. Before I started working at this specific store, I actually sold shoes at another store where I learned basic podiatry and the mechanics of shoes and shoe construction. I also took kinesiology courses because I just really like exercise science. At my first shoe selling job, I must have fit thousands of people, so I have a pretty decent understanding of the type of shoes that will and won't hurt a person. And I'll talk about how to buy proper shoes and orthotics later in the video because most people just don't know how to, and you're probably going to get ripped off and physically hurt in the long term if you don't know this. So when I landed this second sales job, I was pretty happy because the pay was significantly higher than anything I had ever received. But with that extra pay came a grind like nothing else. I mean, I received a week of training, which was essentially going over how to operate the cash register, how to fill out phone orders, and how to learn to use the dreaded foot scanner device. And that device is the core of the problem in today's story. This foot scanner essentially takes a basic 3D scan and uses pressure sensors to see which parts of your feet need the most support. And this is used to determine what kind of orthotic insole you should be using in your shoe. There are different levels of strength for these insoles, and some people do genuinely need them. And of course, you guessed it, they aren't free. This scanning device pretty much always recommends you get the highest level of support, even though a lot of people don't need that much, and it can actually hurt you by causing your feet to supinate, which is when your feet and ankles are forced outwards, leading you to walk on the outside of your foot. This is very bad and will damage your ankles and knees over time. The max support insoles, of course, are the most expensive ones, so we were told to push them. Now, some people naturally supinate, but you don't give those people orthotics because all orthotic insoles are made to give either overpronation support or extra cushion. Overpronation is the opposite of supination. It's when your ankles roll inwards from pressure. Orthotics are supposed to be used to put your feet in a neutral position, and that's it. There is no such thing as supination support. That's just extra cushion, which you can get by buying a shoe that has a thicker sole. Well, when I told my boss that the scanner isn't accurate and is possibly hurting people, he looked a little surprised, but ultimately he said, "Well, that's interesting to know, but don't you want to get paid more?" Needless to say, that kind of messed me up for a little while. I just couldn't bring myself to sell products that were not just useless, but actually hurting people. I mean, several times a month, people were bringing back their shoes and insoles saying pain had started to develop in their feet or knees, and those were just the people that decided to come back. I would watch my coworkers say, "Just give it time to break in, sir." If a customer ever returned one of my coworkers' fit jobs, I always told them the truth, and I eventually stopped using the scanning device. My boss noticed it one day and told me to start using it because it's going to help increase your sales. I was already the top salesperson at my store, and I had the lowest rate of returns. I just knew he was wrong. But I said okay. I just didn't use the machine when he wasn't around, which was often because he only came once a week to do payroll and to tell us to push harder for sales. About a month after our conversation, he hired a couple new guys, which I thought was odd because we were pretty much fully staffed. I actually made a joke to one of my coworkers. I said, "It looks like one of us is on the chopping block." Well, imagine my shock when one of those same coworkers told me I was being let go. My boss didn't even have the balls to tell me himself. Oh, and this was on Christmas Eve, by the way. See, what I didn't realize is that when he did payroll, he actually also checked the cameras, and he noticed that I wasn't using the machine again. I thought the cameras were just for show, but apparently they're used to spy on employees like some Orwellian shadow government. Moral of the story, make sure you always have a savings nest egg to fall back on, and aggressively save when you first start a job. Also, here are some tips for buying shoes. Number 1, you should be wearing running shoes for the majority of non-sport related activities. They provide the most comfort and protection for your lower body joints. Number 2, make sure there's at least a thumb's width of space between your big toe and the front of your shoe. Your foot actually grows throughout the day because of increased blood flow from movement, similar to how you get a pump after you go to the gym and lift weights. Number 3, make sure your foot does not slide forward. The heel should be snug and the toe box should be wide. Number 4, these rules only apply to shoes that you're going to be walking or running in, not for sports that require pivots and jumps like basketball or tennis. Sports shoes like that are supposed to fit much tighter. Number 5, look at your ankle when you walk or jog. If it does not roll inwards, you do not need arch support. That's it. Good luck.